Well, Saturday night, man, we're so glad that you guys are here with us tonight. We have a special treat for you, and I'm super excited because the guest that we have with us tonight has been a mentor from a distance for probably the last 20 years. And over the last year, he hasn't just become a mentor, he has become a friend. And I believe that after tonight, he's going to be your friend as well. And so, Coastal, can you give a huge welcome to my friend and your friend soon, Dr. John Maxwell. Come on, church.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Good evening. So good to be here. My name is John, and I'm your friend. On the count of three, give me your name. 1, 2, 3. Nice to meet you. I'm so excited to be here with you and at Coastal Community Church and with TJ and Shayla. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time, and the place is packed out. I hope the speaker's good, you know. But if he's not, don't worry. He's not doing too good. Just come up and get me, and we'll leave together. How's that, okay? My wife, Margaret, and I have been married for 53 years. We have 2 children. We have 5 grandchildren. Grandchildren are God's gift to you for not killing your children. How many of you have teenagers? Yeah. Let them live. Let them live. There are days, aren't there, that you're just kind of, what should I do? Just let them live. Trust me on this. My name's John. I'm your friend. I'm here to help you. And if you let them live, someday they'll give you grandchildren. And that's why you let them live. I was talking with our grandchildren the other day, and it's just true. They're better kids than our 2 kids were. They're just better kids. And I was telling them, I said, you know, I don't understand it, but you're just better kids than our kids. My son Joel was there. He said, well, I understand it, Dad. They're better kids because we're their parents. Well, that's the last time that conversation will come up. We're done with that one, that was for sure. As I thought about our time together, I want to make it count. I want to make it count because God is the center of our lives, and I want to make it count because as I look at each one of you, you're young and you have such a great future. You have so many possibilities in front of you. And I just thought, how can I give you a message, a teaching, a lesson that you'll just carry with you for the rest of your life? And I have one. I've got one for you, okay? I have one that it's just going to help you. It'll be something you can take good notes today, but I will promise you in the days ahead, it'll become a North Star to you. There'll be some things that'll help make you solid and strong and good for the kingdom. So how many of you would like to have a life lesson that really will just help you as you walk in the days ahead? Yeah. Okay. How many of you want for sure for that to happen to the person beside you? Yeah. In fact, look at your neighbor and say, please take notes. You really need this. You know, just tell him. If I could sit across the table from you, just you and me, and if you had asked me, John, in your 75 years of living and leading, writing, doing your best to help people, what would be the thing that you would want to help me with? If you would ask me that question, and you are a Christ follower, I'm assuming that, what I would share with you is that more than anything else, I would like to teach you about how to have the right perspective about life, about yourself and about others. I would talk to you about how you think, the perspective that determines what you see, which so much determines what you do. You see, how we view things is how we do things. So whatever my perspective is, it determines my actions. It determines my behavior. So what I do is based upon my perspective. And what I would do is I would do my best to just talk to you about how to have a right perspective that will serve you well in life. The greatest gap between successful and unsuccessful people is the perspective gap. No question about it. How they see things, how they think. You see, your perspective, whatever it is right now, is your world. And it's possible that two of you can be sitting side by side right now, and you can have different perspective. Maybe, for example, one of you will have an abundance perspective. The person maybe to your left has a scarcity perspective. And what I want you to know is, what that perspective is the real world, not the fake world. It's the real world that you live in. And when people come to me, they say, well, I just think that life is getting scarce, and it just seems to me that, wow, as I look at life, I just think the end is near, and there's just not much happening, and I think it's the dark times, and what do you think? I said, well, whatever you think is fine. As a man thinketh in his heart.
Yeah, that's right.
So is he. And if you came and you said, John, I think that the greatest days are ahead. When I saw your video about, you saw a picture of Billy Graham, and yesterday's church and building today's church, and today's church and building tomorrow's church, and that's an abundance mentality. That's a fact that this is getting bigger, and the kingdom is more than just me and my generation. Well, if you have an abundance mindset, and you just think that you have all kind of possibilities in life, I'm going to tell you, you're going to have all kind of possibilities in life. You choose the world that you live in based upon the perspective that you have. Wow. Every time I go to the dentist, which is as little as I possibly can, I mean, really, I've never heard anybody say, oh, I'm very excited about tomorrow. What's happening? Well, I'm going to the dentist. I mean, do you really think a dentist can go to heaven? All right, maybe one or two. But, every time I go to the dentist, one of the things they do is they do the dental floss. The dental floss. And, they got me back there, and I'm kind of helpless, and so they just dental floss me. And it's good for my teeth. It's good for me. I wish that you could just kind of unzip the mind, and we could do mental floss. Just kind of, just come here for a moment. You're going to be okay. Give me a minute, and and then zip them up and be healed. You know what I mean? And go your way. Well, the perspective that you have about family determines what kind of family you have. Your perspective of God determines what kind of God you serve. Your perspective of your community determines what kind of a community you have. Your perspective of yourself, it determines how you see yourself. And I'm going to talk to you tonight about a perspective of possessions, the stuff that you and I have, okay? Some of us have a lot of stuff. Some of us have a little bit of stuff. Doesn't matter whether you have a lot or a little. It's your perspective that matters. And to help us with the perspective of stuff and possessions, I'm going to take you to a story that you all know. In fact, we talk about this person. Even people that really don't know much biblical truth, they'll talk quite often about the Good Samaritan. And it's a simple story, and I'm going to read it to you right now. Just kind of hang with me for a moment. Because a lawyer came to Jesus one day, and he basically said, Jesus, who's my neighbor? And in reply, Jesus said, a man going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, when he was attacked by robbers, and they stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed on the other side. So to a Levite, when he came to the place and he saw him, he passed to the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. And he went to him, and he bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. And then he put the man on his own donkey and brought him to an inn and took care of him. And the next day he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense that you may have. Then Jesus asked the attorney, which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers? And the expert in law replied, the one who had mercy on him. And Jesus told him, go and do likewise. Now, in this story, Jesus is going to talk about perspective of your neighbor, because there are 3 different total perspectives which determined the response of these people concerning the person that was robbed. So let me give you these 3 perspectives, and then I'm even going to give you a higher one than the Good Samaritan. Let's get going. Perspective number 1, okay? And by the way, this would be the robber's perspective. Their perspective about possessions is this: what is yours is mine, and I'm going to take it. Yeah, they robbed him. He's coming down the road toward Jericho, and they said, what's his is ours. Stick him up. And they took his stuff. They beat him up. They're robbers. Now, why did they rob? They robbed because they had a wrong perspective. Yeah. What's yours is mine, and I'm going to take it. If that's your perspective, you go rob people. Yeah. Now, when I give that perspective, we all feel very spiritual, don't we? I mean, we're just sitting back and say, oh my, I am the apple of his eye. Yeah, boy, thank God. Whew, that's not me. I'm better than that. Are you sure? We're born robbers. We're born with selfishness and sin in us. And selfishness and sin causes me to say, what's yours is mine. And I'm going to take it. And if you don't think you were born a robber, just think of toddlers. Those cute little thieves running around. You do know property law from a toddler's perspective, don't you? If I like it, it's mine. If I can take it away from you, it's mine. If I had it a while ago, it's mine. If I say it's mine, it's mine. If it looks like mine, it's mine. If you're having fun with it, it's mine. If you lay it down, it's mine. If it's broken, it's yours. We're born robbers. We really are. So hopefully we grow out of that. But there's a natural tendency for us to be greedy, selfish, envious. It's in us. That's perspective number 1. But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that most of you are over the robbing stage. If you're not, I would encourage you when you pray in church, keep your eyes open. Here's perspective number 2. This would be the perspective of the priest and the Levite. They're going down the road. They see the man. He's been robbed. Jesus wants to make sure in this story, he says it very plainly, and they saw the man. And they saw the man. He doesn't want us to think that maybe the priest and Levi were just walking on the other side of the road and they were just maybe looking at the left at the scenery and they accidentally passed. No. And they saw the man. They saw the man. In fact, when they saw the man, that's when they passed by on the other side. Why did they pass by on the other side? Because your perspective and my perspective determines our behavior. Yeah. Because their perspective was this. What is mine, and I'm going to keep it. What's mine? It's mine, and I'm going to keep it. Now, this is classic selfishness. The reason they passed by on the other side, I assumed as they were going down to Jericho, I don't know, maybe they had a lunch. They had some kind of appointment down in Jericho. And what happens with selfish people, people that are, what's mine is mine and I'm going to keep it. What happens with selfish people is so shown in the behavior of the priest and the Levite. Selfish people do not want to be inconvenienced. That's the characteristic of a selfish person. Oh my gosh, if I stop to help this guy, I'm going to miss my lunch meeting. Oh, wow. This is such an inconvenience to go over and, wow, he kind of looks bloody. I got a suit on, good Lord. I think I'll just kind of keep moving. What's mine is mine. When you have this perspective about possessions and people and life, you will avoid people that need you. Yes, you will. In fact, if you're a selfish person, there are many people who have needed you that have been on the side of the road and you've not helped them at all. I had a good friend who had a 10-year-old son, and he told me this incredible story. His son loved McDonald's French fries. Who doesn't? And on Saturday morning, especially, he'd come to Dad and he'd said, Dad, let's go to McDonald's. I want a pack of fries. And he's only 10, so he has no way to get to McDonald's. So his dad get him in the car, and they would drive and go to McDonald's. Dad would order the pack of fries. And the first time he did this, they sat at the table, and so his son's got that pack of McDonald's French fries that are hot. And, if you just smell those, to smell them is to want them. And so here's Dad with his 10-year-old boy, and he sees those fries, and then he smells those fries, and just kind of automatically, just, like any of us would, he reaches over to just get 2 or 3 of the fries out of the pack, and he gets his hands on those fries, and his boy looks at him and grabs his hand and pushes it back and said, no, Dad, you can't have these fries. These fries are mine. And he said, I pulled my hand back. And then I looked at my son. And there are 3 things as a father that immediately came to my attention. Number 1, my son doesn't understand. I'm the source. I'm the only reason he has those French fries. Without me, no fries. He doesn't understand. He said, no, Dad, those are my fries. Those are my fries. He doesn't understand. I'm the source. He has those fries only because of me. Without me, he doesn't have French fries. He said, secondly, he doesn't understand. If I want to, I can take them from him. I can say with an attitude you have like that, son, boom, you have no fries. I have them now. I have the power to take these fries from you, and you can do nothing about it. And then he said, Also, if I wanted to, I had the power to go back to the counter and order 50 packs of fries. Put them in a big box and go over to where my son is and dump him and those fries on, bury him in French fries. He said, I have the power to bury him in French fries. And when my friend told me that, I thought, oh my. Oh my. Wouldn't it be wonderful? You go to heaven and St. Peter says, what happened? I was buried in French fries. Did somebody try to help you? Yes, but I fought him off. I fought him off. Oh, what a way to go. He was buried in fries. And he said, the third thing my son doesn't understand. He doesn't understand. I don't need his French fries. I don't need them. I know where those fries come from. I can go right back to the counter and I can order my own pack of fries and I can sit with my pack of fries and he sits with his pack of fries and I eat mine and he eats. I don't need his fries. And then he said, what bothered me as a father is I just wanted to share them with you. I just want to have kind of a dad-son moment and just kind of, I don't know, we just eat the fries together and talk about the day and just enjoy sharing the fries. Are you getting the message? Yeah. God's the source of everything you have. He would just like to share those fries with you. That's all. But if you're selfish, like the priest and the Levite, they're my fries. They're my possessions. This is my time. These are my gifts. Okay. The robber said, what's yours is mine, I'm going to take it. The priest and Levi said, well, what's mine is mine, and I'm going to keep it. But the third perspective, which was the Good Samaritan, that's why he's called good. His perspective is, what is mine is yours, and I'm going to give it. What is mine is yours, and I'm going to give it to you. Now, whenever we hear this perspective, our heart is warmed because Jesus said, just like the priest and the Levite, the Samaritan saw the man. You see, when selfish people see a need, they don't want to be inconvenienced. They ask the question, well, what will happen to me if I stop and help them? You see, if you're a good Samaritan perspective, you flip that perspective completely. You don't say, well, what would happen to me if I don't help him? You basically say, what happens to him if I don't help him? So I helped him. He stopped and looked at his wounds and began to care for them and got some oil and wine and began to kind of dress him up and bind him a little bit, put him on his donkey and walked him into some ER unit. Said, hey, would you kind of watch after him, and here's some money. And by the way, this man had an appointment because he said, I have to leave. I can't come back till tomorrow. If there's any more money, I'll be glad to take care of it for him. Now this is huge. This is huge. Well, what's the difference between a priest and a Levite who don't want to be inconvenienced and will go to the other side of the room to make sure they avoid that person because they think that their stuff, their possessions, their time is theirs. It's not to be given to anybody. It's theirs. They're selfish. What's the difference between that person and a good Samaritan? Well, it's quite simple, really. When I teach leadership, which I teach often, I teach leaders that the secret of them becoming great leaders is they need to get over themselves and put the people first. When I teach communication, I tell communicators, if you want to be a great communicator, it's not about you. It's about the people. In fact, I've had the privilege this summer of going to Nashville and spending some time with the top 5 writers in Nashville. They've had several number 1 hits. And we got this idea of putting some of the books I've written to music. And so we're doing songs. I'm going to release an album next spring. I can hardly wait, and it's just I'm having a blast. Of course, they're all better than me and bigger than me, so I'm kind of like at the bottom. But man, I love poetry. I write poems to my children and to my grandchildren on their birthday. I do this every year. The night before their birthday, I write a poem about them, and then at 3:30 the next morning, I text it to them. And so when they wake up, they know Papa has a poem for them. And they read that poem. They save those poems. We talk about those poems. So I like to write poetry. And so I'm having fun writing these country songs. And the reason I'm telling you the story is, I don't know which one's my favorite yet. I've got 2 or 3, I think, that are really they're good. They're really good. But there's one that we called it. The title of the song is "Get Over Yourself." Yeah. Just get over yourself, And basically, in the song, we tell them you got to find yourself, to know yourself, to improve yourself, so you can get over yourself, so you can give yourself. If you haven't got over yourself, you'll never live a significant life. By the way, if you haven't got over yourself, the rest of us are trying to get over you. We really are. My name's John. I'm your friend. Now, we look at this and we say, wow, those are amazing perspectives about possessions, okay? And I'm not the robber, and I sure don't want to be the priest and Levite. And, hey, just call me the Good Samaritan. Well, I'll call you the Good Samaritan because that's a high level to live. But can I tell you, biblically, there's a level and a perspective even higher than the Good Samaritans. And I want to give it to you because I want to challenge you. Remember, I said I want to teach a lesson to you that will mark you for life. And you're such a great audience to talk to. I mean, you're there taking notes. You're hanging in there with me. I'm having the time of my life. In fact, this is so good, I'm preaching for 3 hours tonight. It's just that good. It's not that good. But there's another perspective that if you'll have this one, it will not only change your life, it will change the lives of people that you interact with and come into contact with. So I want you to get this perspective. Here we go. There's a higher perspective than even the Good Samaritans. It's a biblical perspective, and here it is. Number 4. What is mine is not mine. And I'm going to manage it. I'm going to steward it. What's mine, it's not mine. And I'm going to manage it. Now, I know, it's put in your name. That house is put in your name. That car is put in your name. I know, it's in your name. And I don't mind it being in your name as long as you know that it's not yours. Because if you think it's yours, you have more issues than I can handle tonight. Wow. The psalmist said, the earth is the Lord's, everything in it, the world and all who live in it, it's all his. James 1:17, every good and perfect gift. Where does it come from? Santa Claus? Chimney? No, it comes from the Father. It comes down from the Father. Wow. This is huge. For the next 5 minutes, I just hope I can teach this really well because this will change your life. Your stuff is not your stuff. My stuff is not my stuff. And the moment that I have that perspective about my stuff, your stuff, the moment I have this perspective, this viewpoint, how I handle my life, my time, my gifts, my money, my relationships, the moment I understand this, I go and live on a level that is contagious, salt and light, that truly makes a difference in people's lives. So I've got to do a good job. I've just got to do a good job teaching this. So let's make sure we got it. What's mine is not mine. I'm just going to manage it. Are you with me? Can you say it with me? What's mine is not mine, and I'm going to manage it. Yeah, no, that's good. Look at your neighbor and say, what's yours is not yours. What's yours is not yours. Yeah, this is good. I think you enjoyed that better than what's mine is not mine. I really think you did. By the way, I'm really, TJ, Shayla, I'm so glad to be with the two of you. By the way, are you not blessed to have these kind of leaders? Are you not incredibly, unbelievably blessed? I'm telling you, if I lived down here, I'd be in this church. I tell you, I love these two. They are so gifted, and they love you so much. And when I'm with them, they just talk about you all the time. In fact, they've kind of made me a little sick about you, to be honest with you. But they're just beautiful people. Love God, love you, terrific leaders. In fact, I was in the green room, and TJ said that we'll go out to eat after I'm done. And in fact, now that I'm thinking about that, why am I still speaking? But you know, and so I said, I'll buy. And then I looked and I realized I didn't bring enough money with me. So honestly, if one of you would just, bring me $100, it would help a lot. That would just kind of make it. What's your name? George. You and I could be great friends. Thank you, George. That's just huge. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is this your tithe? That's the church's. But I love your heart. Oh, my. I love your heart. That's a beautiful heart. Oh. George, thank you. I'll let you know where I'm preaching next. You and I could go on the road, George. Okay. Okay, now, where was I? I would go on, but you're not mentally ready for me to go on. You're sitting there and you're asking yourself, what just happened? Maxwell is preaching, says he needs $100. Some guy named George comes up, hands him the $100. I mean, who's George? And why did George do that? And then you know what you're asking? Why didn't I do that? And to be honest with you, I'm asking that same question. Now, I'm going to let you in on a secret, okay? I'm just going to let you in on a secret. In the green room, before I came out, I met George. And I said, George, and I pulled it out of my pocket, and I gave him $100. And I said, George, when I preach tonight, there'll be a time when I ask for the $100, and would it be okay when I ask for it, would you just bring back to me my $100? By the way, I'm glad he didn't have the perspective of the robber. He'd already be out the door. He'd already be eaten. Now, so you see, do not miss this. The reason it was so easy for George to come out of his seat and hand me the $100 is he knew it wasn't his money. It's not his, it's mine. And when you know that everything you have is God, you'll quit being so cheap with God. And you'll quit being so cheap with others. And you won't be crossing on the other side of the road anymore. You won't be so cheap with your time and with your gifts. But if I think, don't miss this, if I think this is my money, every time I should give it to help people, I'll fight it. I may need that. Got to save up for a rainy day. You will be incredibly released spiritually when you understand that what is yours is not yours. And that we are just to manage it. Let me tell you one other quick story. I was a pastor in San Diego, and I was 33, and things were going good, really going good. I had the 10th largest church in America. I was writing books. They were becoming bestsellers. Things were going. We didn't have satellites then, so we just had a whole bunch of church services. I hated Sunday. I just hated Sunday. It was, by the end of Sunday, I resigned every Sunday night. I was just worn out and tired, and I didn't love God. I didn't love God. I didn't love you. I didn't love anybody. I was just worn out. Just preach. Okay. But God was really blessing. I had a mentor who came out and spent the weekend with me, and so we went to lunch after services. And he said, John, I got to talk to you about your giftedness, your spiritual giftedness. He said, you're very gifted. You have great communication gifts. You have ridiculous relationship gifts. You write well. You're gifted. And he said, the reason we're having this meeting is because I want you to understand the gifts that you have, they're not yours. None of them. In fact, John, that's why we call them gifts. You didn't earn them. You don't deserve them. In fact, he said, I know you. And I'm kind of surprised you have all these gifts. He said, John, I love this. I'll never forget this day. He said, you're one step from stupid. But you have these gifts that God gave you. And so when people come up to you and say, oh my gosh, that was an amazing message, or oh, that was just incredible, that book, he said, John, understand. In their humanness, they're being grateful to you, and they're looking at you and saying, you're amazing, John, you're amazing. But he said, John, I want you to remember from this day on, you're not amazing. There's nothing amazing about you. The only thing that's amazing is not who you are. The only thing that's amazing is the gifts that God gave you. So when they come around and they tell you how amazing you are, be grateful and say, well, thank you very much. But understand, they're not your gifts. And the God who gave them to you so incredibly, in a moment's notice, like the French fries, can take them away from you. So be humble, be thankful, be grateful. Use those gifts to the best of your ability. But there's nothing amazing about you because they're not your gifts. And that was a lesson that's changed my life. And when I walk off of stages in Las Vegas, when I've spoken to 15,000 people in business community, and they're on their feet and they're giving me a standing ovation, and I smile, I look up to God and I say, they're not applauding me. They're applauding you. Amen. They're applauding the source, the giver of every good and perfect gift. If you will understand, your time isn't yours. Your gifts aren't yours. Your possessions aren't yours. The moment that you understand that all we do is manage what God has given us to for a very brief time. And by the way, if you do think it's yours, when you die, I have news for you. You don't take it with you. If we can remember that, if you can have that perspective, wow, you'll become great for the kingdom of God. Father, may we not get away from this simple message on perspective. And may we embrace the fact that everything that I have, everything, every blessing is a gift from you. And all you ask me to do is not selfishly hold on to it like it's mine, but to graciously, with an open hand, pass it on to others. Because, God, you will only give to us what you know will flow through us. May we be a river, not a reservoir. In your name we pray. Amen. God bless you.